The cabin was already thick with tension when Jordan Hale stepped aboard, dressed plainly, carrying nothing but a slim backpack and a folded hoodie draped over his arm. He walked with quiet confidence, though no one noticed him beyond a passing glance, until he reached his seat in first class. The moment he sat, a woman 2 rows ahead twisted around, narrowing her eyes as if he'd stolen something. "Excuse me," she snapped, voice loud enough for half the cabin to hear. "Are you sure you're supposed to be up here?" Her tone wasn't curiosity, it was accusation. A few passengers looked up, sensing drama. "I haven't seen you on a first-class passenger list," she added with a smirk, the kind coated in entitlement and thinly veiled disdain. Jordan simply looked at her, calm, reserved, unbothered. "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be," he said. But that wasn't good enough for her. She waved over a flight attendant, whispering something into her ear that made the attendant stiffen. Moments later, the attendant approached Jordan with a forced smile and a tone polished by judgment. "Sir, I need to verify your seat. We've had unexpected guests trying to upgrade themselves." When he handed over his boarding pass, she barely looked at it before shaking her head. "This doesn't seem right. I'll have to ask you to move." The whispers spread like wildfire. Someone muttered, "Probably bought a cheap ticket and thought he could slip in." Another scoffed under their breath. Jordan exhaled slowly, a quiet sigh more powerful than any outburst. "Before you go any further," he said, without raising his voice, "are you absolutely certain you want to do this?" The question froze her. The woman in front scoffed, the passengers leaned in, and the fuse of the story, that silent, invisible spark, had finally been lit. The attendant's expression hardened, doubling down. "Sir, if you don't comply peacefully, we'll have security escort you off the aircraft." The woman in front chimed in. "Good. People like him always cause problems." The stress fractures of prejudice split the cabin wide open in an instant. Jordan remained still. No anger, no panic, just a chilling patience that made a few passengers uneasy. Slowly, deliberately, he reached into his bag and pulled out a black case no thicker than a passport. The woman rolled her eyes. "Oh, please, fake badges don't work here." But when Jordan opened it, the shift in the cabin was immediate, sharp, silent, and devastating. Inside was not a badge, but a document bearing the official seal of Aero West Holdings, signed and stamped. It was a transition of ownership certificate, a contract closing just 12 hours earlier. The flight attendant leaned closer, eyes widening, breath stuttering. Jordan let the suspense stretch, the rhythm of the cabin slowing as passengers stared. Then he said the 7 words that punched the air from every pair of lungs on board. "This plane is mine now, officially." Gasps cracked through the rows. Someone dropped their phone. The woman who'd confronted him pulled back as if struck. Jordan continued calmly. "As of this morning, I completed the purchase of Aero West Airlines. This aircraft, this route, this crew, they're under my leadership as of today." The captain, alerted by frantic signals from the attendants, rushed up the aisle. The moment he saw the documents, his posture snapped straight. "Mr. Hale, sir, I had no idea you'd be joining us." The woman who'd mocked him earlier paled, her bravado evaporating. The flight attendant looked ready to collapse. Jordan didn't smirk, didn't gloat. Instead, he looked around the cabin and said quietly, "Funny how quickly people decide who belongs." The captain apologized profusely, offering to reset the boarding process, but Jordan raised a hand. He wasn't finished. He stood slowly, turning first to the attendant, then to the woman who had sparked the confrontation. "This isn't about respect for me," he said, voice low and controlled. "It's about how you treat people you assume have nothing." The woman swallowed hard, eyes glassy. The attendant whispered a trembling apology. But Jordan didn't scold. He educated. You judged me based on clothes, on assumptions, on the belief that status is something you can recognize from a distance." He scanned the rows, letting the words settle like cold rain. "But dignity? That's something you give freely, or you don't give at all." Passengers shifted, uncomfortable yet enthralled. Jordan then addressed the entire cabin. "Let this be a reminder. Wealth doesn't always announce itself. Power doesn't always shout, and the person you're quickest to dismiss might be the one person you'll need to answer to." The weight of his words filled the space heavier than the hum of the engines. As Jordan sat back in 2A, the plane felt different, humbled, quiet, changed. Even the air seemed to move more carefully around him. The woman in front leaned forward, voice barely a whisper. I didn't know." Jordan looked up, meeting her eyes with a gaze that cut deeper than anger ever could. "You weren't supposed to know. You were supposed to be kind anyway." If this story made your heart drop, if it made you uncomfortable in the right way, if it reminded you how quickly we judge people without knowing their truth, then I want to hear from you. Stories like this aren't just dramatic moments on airplanes. They happen in grocery stores, offices, schools, and even in everyday conversations. Far too often people are dismissed before they're heard, prejudged before they're understood, devalued before they get the chance to reveal who they really are. So tell me in the comments, have you ever been underestimated because of the way you look, speak, or dress? Have you seen someone else judged unfairly before they even had a chance to explain themselves? Your story might open someone's eyes. Your voice might help someone question their assumptions, and your experience could be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. If you believe respect shouldn't depend on wealth, status, or appearances, if you believe dignity is something that should be given freely, not earned through labels, then make sure this message reaches as many people as possible. Share this video, put it on your feed, send it to someone who might need the reminder. And if you want more powerful stories like this, stories that expose prejudice, challenge assumptions, and reveal the truth behind every snap judgment, then hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and join this community. We are building more than a channel. We are building awareness, compassion, change. Thank you for watching, for caring, and for being part of a movement that believes every person deserves respect, long before you learn their title.